my name is Nicole. Welcome to my channel, Travel to Money. In this video, I will share about taking affordable short-term vacations, a 10-day trip to Croatia with my friend, and my first experience jumping from hostel to hostel. If you are new here, I have created this channel to help you learn about how to travel, adventure, and have fun on the road to financial independence. I have spent the last few years traveling the world. I bought and paid off a house in Spain. I've tried to make the most of every opportunity and have used all of this to help me move toward financial independence. I believe that the road to financial freedom can and should be fun. I hope that you'll subscribe and jump on this journey with me no matter where you are starting from. I have a coworker who has become a good friend and a great travel buddy. We've been to Croatia, Spain, the beaches of Florida, and ice climbing in Michigan together. She's not only up for an adventure, but often encourages me outside of my comfort zone. Enter hostels. I had traveled a lot at this point, but always rented my own Airbnb. Staying in hostels would be a first for me, and I'm so glad that Danielle suggested this type of adventure. If you're not super familiar, a hostel is basically a shared room rental where you sleep in a room with other people, often on bunk beds, and then share community bathrooms, kitchen areas, and things like that. It's a way for solo travelers to make travel really affordable. Danielle's family tree extends from Croatia, and she planned a trip for us to spend 10 days driving across the country. We both flew into Zagreb and met there at the airport. We got a rental car that I believe was relatively inexpensive, and we hit the road. A 4-hour drive landed us in a hostel near Plitvice Lakes National Park. I'm not going to lie, I had to do a little processing the first time I walked into our room that slept a total of 10 people on 5 bunk beds. I just felt unsure about how I would sleep, and the only place in my mind that held anything about hostels was from the cover of scary movies, which, by the way, is very far from the reality of it. I had come prepared with a sleep mask and wax earplugs. This turned out to be brilliant for me, and safe in the confines of my top bunk, I slept very well. Just a little bit of a funny note, when I travel with just my backpack, I use sealed compression bags to compress my clothing so I have more room for more stuff. This has been great for me in general, but one downside is using them in a hostel. If you need to get something out of your bag while other people are sleeping, it is very noisy. Anyhow, now let's talk about what I really loved about the first night in the hostel. We went into the shared kitchen and dining area. I don't really remember if we were eating there or not, but what these common areas offer is a sense of community. Although I can be quite the talker, I actually have a bit of social anxiety when first meeting people and can struggle to make introductions. Of course, get me started and you might not be able to shut me up. In this instance, Danielle took the lead and was quickly making conversation with a few people who had just prepared their meals. I remember how impressed I was in watching her navigate right past the shallow of the conversation, asking meaningful questions, and within 5 minutes of talking to one woman, the woman was in tears, in a good and connected way, of course. As we traveled across the country, this was definitely the best benefit of a hostel environment, meeting and making friends of fellow travelers. So after a good night of sleep, we got up the next morning to explore Croatia's largest national park, Plitvice Lakes. In 1979, also known as the year I was born, it was named a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The park offers visitors 7 different routes to tour the lake system and 4 hiking trails. It is definitely worth the drive, as it stands out as one of the most beautiful places I've ever been. In the Plitvice area, we stopped to eat, and I will never forget this white wine pancake meal that I had. It is the only place in the world I've ever seen it. Basically, it was 2 crepes with a layer of homemade crunchy hazelnut spread, topped with a sweet white wine cream sauce. Delicious is an understatement. We took some detours through the old country roads to capture some cool photos on the way to our next stop, Sibenik. This smaller city isn't as well known as Dubrovnik, Split, and Zagreb, but it quickly became our favorite place to be. The first hostel we stayed in was just fine, but this one was on another level. It was newly opened and had recently been renovated. It was more reminiscent of a hotel. The bedrooms slept 5 people, and each of those bedrooms had a private bathroom rather than having to share a community bathroom with the entire hostel. It was beautiful, plus there was a pool and some really nice common areas for meals or drinks. We had a lot of fun at this hostel and made friends who we explored with over the next couple of days. One of the most memorable outings was visiting the St. Nicholas Fortress. If you look online, it will tell you that you need to go by boat, but we took the long walking trail out to the other side of it, changed into our swimsuits, and swam around the entrance in the cold water. Super fun experience. The decision to build this fortress came in 1525 and was designed by a famous Venetian architect. It served many armies over the years, but was abandoned by the military in 1979. What is it with that year today? Our next destination was the well-known city of Split. This was the first hostel that we didn't really care for. It was older, dingy, and the common areas were not big enough to create a comfortable space to hang out with other travelers. The city is awesome, but definitely a super touristy destination. We were supposed to stay a couple of days in Dubrovnik also, but instead only did a quick day trip there and canceled our Airbnb. Split was definitely touristy, but Dubrovnik was touristy on steroids. Super incredible city, made more famous by the show Game of Thrones. I'm glad we went and that we did a cliff jump off the city wall, but I'm also glad that we decided not to stay. Instead, we went back to the lovely little city of Sibenik. And this is a lesson I've learned about travel. Make plans, but don't be afraid to change them. Go where you want to be in that moment. So this is my take on hostels. Just like hotels and Airbnb, there are good hostels, not so great hostels, and absolutely incredible hostels. Do your research. If you're traveling with 2, 3, or 4 people, it might be just as cheap to split the cost of an Airbnb. But I wouldn't look past the benefit of meeting other travelers. This is the best thing about hostels, in my opinion. Making friends on the road isn't always easy, but staying at a hostel can be a great way to introduce you to a world of people. One more note, many hostels offer private bedrooms and bathrooms at a higher rate, but you still get the benefit of the community areas and meeting up with people. I've only used the shared rooms, but there are always more ways than one to design an adventure. Hostels probably won't be part of my long-term travel adventures when I'm working because I have a need for having a private workspace. But with the rise of co-working spaces all around the world, who knows? Maybe this will become a regular part of my travels. I was very impressed with the amount of people we met who found creative ways to travel. Several young people were taking a gap year. When I was their age, I wasn't even dreaming about a vacation, and here they are getting to see the world at such a young age. I also met other women who would go to their home country, work for a year to save money, and then would travel for a year. And let me not forget our friend Dan, who we met in Sibenik. I'm never surprised when I see a post from him with the picture of a plane ticket that he got to one place or another for just a couple of dollars. Seriously, a couple of dollars to fly to another country. Of course, he lives in the UK, but still. Okay, a couple of pounds. One more note before the video is over. I loved Croatia. I've been back once since that initial trip, and I definitely plan to go again. With over 1,000 islands, a beautiful countryside, and an incredible history, this is a place that you should put on your travel list for sure. In the next video, I'll tell you about how I ended up buying my house in Spain. If this video has helped you even a little bit, let me know by liking and subscribing. If you've stayed in a hostel, let me know about your experience in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. I can't wait to see where your dreams will take you.